Hello everybody, James Teacher here, and we're talking about the next question in our why book, which is question 11. Why do people fight? You may feel like, oh my goodness, you know what, this is so obvious. Like, I know why I fight. We fight because people do things and then they cause us to become angry, and that's why we fight. Or we're fighting over resources. Well, there's another reason why we fight. We fight over resources. However, we're going to focus on three ideas here, which are a little bit different. Now, we can separate ideas into two parts. We have the ideas or the reasons that we have no control over. Stuff that we are born with, genetic reasons why we may fight. And we have other things which are learned behaviors. This is the great nature versus nurture debate. We are nurtured to have certain behaviors, but by nature we have other behaviors. So let's focus on a nature concept to begin with, the reason why we fight. Well, one of the reasons why we fight is because we are descended from primates. We're descended from hairy apes. And some of us are still a little bit hairy. Some of us are not really hairy, and some of us are immensely hairy. Oh my goodness, you should be in the Guinness World Book of Records. But we descended from hairy primates. Now, these hairy primates, think about chimpanzees, think about gorillas, they have certain behaviors, certain emotions, which actually are remarkably similar to us. And we have carried those behaviors down through the evolutionary journey, and we still have them. Now, the second reason why we fight is because we have this thing. We have these hormones inside of us. So this is another nature reason. We have these hormones. We have testosterone, we have cortisol. Now, cortisol is a stress hormone. So here's what happens. When you are in a situation where something terrible is happening, you have somebody pushes you. You know, you've all been in those situations. You're at primary school, elementary school, and a kid pushes you. And inside of you, something ancient is happening. You are deciding whether to fight or flight, whether to rumble in the jungle with this kid who pushed you or flee and tell the teacher. Now, I hope you flee and tell the teacher, but here's what happens. You will have a massive release of cortisol, this stress hormone. This is very, 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 very powerful stuff. We're talking biochemistry inside your brain, inside your body. You also have a release of testosterone. Testosterone makes you feel confident. If you have more testosterone, you will feel more confident. And sometimes that can mean that you will either stay very, very calm, or if your cortisol is very, very high, you may make a split-second decision and you may fight. You're forced into a corner and you may fight, or you may run away. These are two ancient things. Think back to our previous idea that we come from primates. This is something which you can see very, very clearly if you watch a group of chimpanzees or a group of gorillas. There will be moments of confrontation, and the animals will either fight or they will flee. Fight or flight. These are two key ideas. So you have to understand there's something happening inside your body. And you just have to basically count to 10, which brings us to our third and final point. Third reason why we fight. The third reason why we fight is because you get this release of cortisol, this stress hormone. And guess what else happens? Your heart rate increases. Now, what happens when your heart rate increases? If your heart rate increases, your breathing becomes more shallow. Pay attention next time you get really angry. You start to breathe like this. You start to breathe with very shallow breaths. Now, very shallow breaths don't take in enough oxygen. Your heart is racing. So you're getting this signal from your brain, oh my goodness, this is serious business. This kid is coming towards us. We need to do something. Your heart starts beating faster, but you can't get enough oxygen. If you can't get enough oxygen, your brain isn't able to think clearly. That's a huge problem, because if you can't think clearly because you don't have enough oxygen, you can't make the right decision. So this is the reason why such wise, sage old people tell us whenever you are angry, take a deep breath, count to 10. Now, they're saying that because they've learned that it helps, but biologically speaking, it helps because the deeper your breaths, the more oxygen you take. The more oxygen you take, the more oxygen you have to use. It will go to your muscles. It will go to your brain, and it will allow you to think more clearly. So the next time somebody comes over to you and pushes you, the first thing you should always do is take a deep breath. Count to 10. and then decide what to do. Sometimes in life you may have to fight to defend yourself, but usually after 10 seconds, take a deep breath, you can make a very sensible, logical decision. So that's the third reason. Of course, the thing we just talked about right at the beginning is something else we can talk about. Why do people fight? Well, we fight over resources. If you are desperate for the last cookie in the cookie jar and your brother is desperate for the cookie in the cookie jar, a rumble may ensue. But we'll talk more about some other reasons why countries go to war and things like that later in another video. So remember the 3 reasons why you fight. First one is we are descended from primates. The second one is we have these hormones inside our bodies like cortisol and testosterone which affect the way we behave. And the third reason is because we don't have enough oxygen. So take a deep breath and I promise you'll be absolutely fine next time something happens. Okay? There we go. See you next time.